Hey guys, welcome to Tone Bros. My name's Casey.
And I'm Colin. We're going to get started with our current topic of the day, which, Casey, what is it?
It is the new Rockett Audio Blue Note Select.
So what's select about it?
So, I guess they've redone the enclosure and stuff.
Okay.
It's too...
Is this the third time now they've redone the enclosure? Because it used to be a big brick.
It was a big brick.
And then they made it like an actual pedal.
Small, yeah. And now it's still saying small, but they've added the hot switch back from the original big brick.
Oh, okay.
So they brought the hot switch back, and I think they've tweaked the circuit ever so slightly. So, have you looked into the original pedal at all, or the second pedal?
I looked at it a long time ago, but I don't remember what it's based off of or anything like that.
It's
a blues driver, right?
No.
Oh.
That's what everyone wants to think, because it's called the Blue Note.
Yeah.
It's just a light to medium gain overdrive that is not really based on anything. It's kind of unique from what I understand. It's not really meant to be based on anything.
Okay.
$229. It's got the hot switch back, which is cool. They call it light to medium gain. But with that hot switch, it's like veering into higher gain, kind of. For what we would talk about, it would be higher gain. If you're like a metal player or like a real hard rock player, you would definitely not call it high gain.
Okay.
But, yeah. It's 4 knobs, standard 4 knob configuration. Nothing that's going to really surprise you too much. And Rockett stuff's amazing.
Right.
I was actually really excited to see them coming out with this new format. They put another pedal out in the same type of format here recently. I'm trying to remember what it was. But the new format's really nice looking. I like the way it looks. They're tweaking the circuits as they're going, so they're not just re-releasing it in a new housing.
Okay.
I really like it. I listened to some of the demos of it, which, I mean, we can't trust demos.
No.
But I thought it was great. So, here, talk about it some more, because you said you looked at it in the past a little bit, and you were trying to remember.
Yeah. I don't even remember why I was looking at it. I was just trying to find, I think, a low to medium drive pedal that was different than the full tone OCD.
Yeah.
At the time, and I don't even remember who's the guy that plays a bunch of Rockett pedals. Is it Sean Tubbs?
Yeah, Sean Tubbs is a big Rockett pedals guy.
So I was watching a bunch of his videos, which, I mean,
I listened to his new demo of this one too.
Dude's got some tone.
Dude's got some tone.
He plays with Carrie Underwood, right?
He did at one time.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he is now. Right now.
Gotcha. Anyways, I mean, it sounded great. Honestly, it's kind of one of those pedals, like, it sounded great, but I just never pulled the trigger.
Yeah, it's, it kind of falls in that realm of, like, the light speed for me. That's kind of that light to medium gain overdrive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it kind of falls in that realm of pedals for me, which right now I'm pretty intrigued with, actually. I'm kind of going down that route. So for me, I'm getting really excited about it. I think it's awesome. I want to see what else Rockett Pedals is going to do in this new format, too. And $229.
Let's see if the pedals get a little hotter.
Oh. Yeah, that's not good. But yeah, I was excited about that. The Dude pedal they've got is like...
Everyone loves that pedal.
Yeah, everyone loves that pedal. It's supposed to be like Dumble inspired, right?
Right.
That one's really popular from them. Obviously, they've got a lot of great pedals. That Hot Rubber Monkey, HRM or whatever it is.
Right.
Is really popular. One of the sleepers I think they've still got that no one really talks about much and is inexpensive is that Touch Overdrive. Have you looked at that?
Not really.
Yeah. That's another one to kind of look into, too.
I'll be honest, Rockett's one of those brands like I really haven't delved into that I probably would love.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody enjoys the boing, right?
Yeah, right. Everybody loves a good boing.
That's what she said.
Everybody loves that boing. But they've got a pedal, the Tranquilizer.
Yeah. What is that one?
I thought that was modulation.
It is some type of modulation.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I'm really excited. I would like to check out the Melody.
Right.
It's one of the pedals I'd like to check out, which is an EQ with a gain and level knob separate. Because I'm an EQ guy. But, yeah, the Rockett pedals I have played have been great.
Yeah.
I've got the Animal. Is that Animal up here? Yeah, the Animal is up here, which is fantastic pedal.
It's a great amp in the box.
Played a couple of their other pedals. So I've never been disappointed with the Rockett stuff. Sean Tubbs does play a lot of them, and he sounds great playing them. And yeah, I think this Blue Note is probably the top of my list for Rockett pedals right now, like as in what I want to check out.
Right.
It and the Dude are probably kind of neck and neck on that one.
Okay.
So, but you want to move into your main topic?
Sure. So this is kind of an overarching question.
Okay.
I've been thinking about this for quite some time because when you think of Guitar Heroes, and I'm not talking about the video game, we've played that. Not the video game, but like in general, Guitar Heroes in the guitar playing community. When's the last one that we had? Like, when was the last Guitar Hero that we had? And do you think there will be other Guitar Heroes? Do you think we're done with that era?
Oh, yeah. That's a tough question, right?
Uh-huh.
What is the last Guitar Hero we had?
I think it's got to be like John Mayer or John Frusciante from Chili Peppers.
I think Mayer's after. I think it's got to be John Mayer.
I'm trying to think, like Jack White, maybe?
I don't know if I would call him a guitar hero.
I would. He made like garage rock or however you say it, like real popular. I mean, Seven Nation Army, they play it at every stadium.
Yeah.
He's got to be a guitar hero.
I don't think he's a guitar hero.
I think he is.
I think he's wrong, folks.
But still, I would say Jack White, John Mayer, John Frusciante. Those are probably the last ones. Like, who else is there? Mm-hmm. Like, in our book, okay, maybe Tom Bukovac, but like...
Yeah, but you're talking like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like mainstream
that has influenced modern music.
That has broken through to standard society. Like, everyone on the street knows him.
Right.
I don't think everyone on the street knows Jack White. Just to break that down.
I don't know. A lot of people.
No way. If you say, hey, what's Jack White do?
Okay, how many people could say, like, who's another guitar hero?
There's not many of them.
Jimmy Page. Like, a lot of people don't know Jimmy Page.
I think people that grew up in the 70s, 80s, and probably 90s would be able to tell you exactly.
I would say that he, for that time frame and those people, yes.
Yeah.
But Jack White is similar to our time frame.
No way. I love Jack White, by the way. I don't have anything against Jack White. Love his music. Love his guitar playing. It's great. But I don't think he's a hero. I think the heroes are the guys like Eddie Van Halen. I find like Eric Clapton. Anytime they make a sign that says Clapton is God or this person is God, you're immediately a guitar hero, right?
I guess you have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Chuck Berry, Robert Johnson before that.
Angus Young,
Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix.
Kirk Hammett. Yeah.
But like,
I can't. We don't want to name them all.
I would say John Mayer has.
John Mayer is there.
He's got to be like the newest, but there hasn't been one since him, and that's been what, early 2000s?
Yeah. When was Continuum? Like 99, 2001, something
No,
like
I think
that?
it was like 2008.
Oh.
I think.
Maybe so. Okay. Well, anyway, like early 2000s-ish is whenever he blew up and got popular.
Uh-huh.
So I think he's definitely the last guitar hero. There's not been anyone.
But will there be another?
I think that there's a chance that if music turns around, and
music turns around,
well, it's going to have to make a turn because the way music is consumed today and the way music is happening, if it continues down the road it's going, no, there will not be. You think of guys like Slash and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's not, like, there's nobody new coming up like Slash.
You know who could change the tide? Because this man has changed the tide for lots of things. Post Malone. If Post Malone really embraced the guitar the way he has country music right now, I feel like he could change the tides.
You know what the problem is, though? You know what the problem is? He would have to have a consistent guitar player that is a big part of his show and his spiel. He would have to be big. Who? No, he definitely isn't. But
what were you gonna say? Say it.
I was just trying to think of like new guitar players that are a big part of shows, and I was thinking about that Justin Derrico, that's Pink's guitar player.
Yeah, no,
and he also plays on The Voice and stuff. I was like, well, he's a huge part of Pink's show because they talk about him, and like everybody that goes to a Pink show knows him. But the public, if you said who's Justin Derrico, they would have no idea.
I feel like you have a better chance of Orianthi.
Yeah, nobody knows who that is either.
But that was Michael Jackson's,
The last guitar player.
last guitar player.
Yeah, I just don't think there's any new guitar heroes since John Mayer. I think you're right.
Okay.
And I think that there's a chance that there could be more guitar players. But for that to happen, the way we consume music is going to have to change.
Do you think the way we consume music or just what is popular music now is going to have to change?
I think that music today that is popular now could have a guitar hero. I think if Taylor Swift had a guitar hero, had a killer guitar player that was on stage with her every time she was on stage next to her, and she gave him solos, and could go up front and stand up front while she goes backstage and changes outfits or something, I think there absolutely could be a guitar hero today. Or Post Malone. Or there's several, Chris Stapleton, right? Chris Stapleton's a killer singer and stuff. But he doesn't have like that side guitar player that's the lead player, that's, his Richie Sambora or his whatever, But if he got one of those guys that stuck with him and he gave him the spotlight and stepped back a little bit, absolutely there could be in today's music. But I'm not sure that a lot of people want to give it up. They want to be the main thing.
I don't know if that's necessarily it. I don't know. I do think you have a point there in how popular music is, like, it's about the lyrics and the song first. And I feel like, John Mayer made the guitar relevant again because he was playing some crazy things while he was singing. John Frusciante played some off-the-wall type of things to, accommodate the music, I guess, or to go with it. But, like, I don't know. I have a hard time figuring out, like, why guitar heroes even became heroes in the first place.
Yeah, I think they've got to hit the right moment, with the right songs, and they have to be able to be, like, the face of the band sometimes.
Right.
They have to be the face of the band occasionally. I don't know. When I think of Guns N' Roses, I think of Axl. But how many people think of that top hat and slashes hair in a Les Paul?
Yeah.
Almost everybody.
Everybody.
When they think of Van Halen, Van Halen's an anomaly, right?
Right. Their name's Van Halen.
But they think of that stripe guitar and they think of Eddie's playing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it could definitely happen again. What if a new artist comes out that's a killer guitar player, like John Mayer or like Eric Clapton was, that's the lead singer also? Chris Stapleton's a great guitar player, but no one's going to necessarily call him a guitar hero.
Right.
I think there's a possibility of it happening again, either in today's music, if the right person does the right thing, which they should be doing the right thing and putting the guitar in the front of the stage occasionally. Not all the time.
Right.
But when it's tasteful, it needs to fit the song. But do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. Yeah. Do you think it will happen?
I think it's inevitable that it'll happen again, but I don't know how soon it will happen.
Yeah, maybe that's how I feel. Yeah. Okay, let's move to my gas or pass.
All right.
So, my gas or pass is going to be the Earthquaker Devices Dispatch Master.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the reverb and delay combo. It's got, the reverb is supposed to be based on like a tank reverb. So like a spring tank reverb.
Spring or plate?
A tank.
Okay.
So I believe it is a spring reverb.
Okay.
It's also got a delay in it, which is a DSP delay. So it's not like some analog chip or whatever. I think it's got like 1,500 milliseconds of delay. So it's got a long delay in there if you want it. It's all in that one small pedal enclosure. And the new ones have top-mounted jacks.
Right.
Which is really nice. So is this a gas or pass for you?
It's definitely a gas. I say that. There's hesitation. So
it's $199 new, by the way.
Yeah, that's pretty cheap for reverb and delay.
I feel like it.
Now, I'll say that digital delay is not always my favorite.
Okay.
Just me personally.
It's DSP, though. So with DSP, they can make it sound like analog. They can make it sound like tape. They can make it sound like anything they want. It just means it's done on a digital processor.
Okay.
Right? So it just means it's made out of digital so they can extend the time and stuff without having a bunch of chips in there. So I'm not saying it sounds like a digital delay. I'm just saying it is digital technically.
Okay. Well, that doesn't really change how I feel. Um, so I like the idea of reverb and delay being in one. I'm glad it's not in a big enclosure, kind of like the Keeley Caverns.
Yeah, or the Flint.
Yeah, or the Flint. Like, it's in a small package, great for a grab-and-go board. I love that idea. I just don't know how practical it is for me. I don't think I necessarily need that. I'm getting an HX1. I'm going to check that out here. That does pretty much anything I need it to. Now, that's one effect at a time. So
And it's large.
And it's larger, but it has a lot of functionality to it. I think it is great for, like, a mid-sized rig. For instance, like a Z-Rec or a Marshall Studio. Like, it's great for that mid-size rig that you have that on your board at the very end and you just use it as you need to. It is a little weird how I kind of wish, like, I don't know, the switch you could somehow hold for reverb only or something, or you know what I mean, like, or add delay, like click it twice in a row to get the delay on or something like that.
Yeah, I think there is like a hold function on it, but it's like for big ambient swells of reverb or something. It's some type of effect like that. It's not to actually switching delay or reverb on or off. To do that, you've got to reach down and turn the knob.
And see, part of me wishes like it was just a quick, like, I don't want the enclosure bigger. I just want, I guess, a little more features.
You want it all.
I want it all.
I feel the same way. So I got a question. So do you put your slapback before your long delay, or your long delay before your slapback?
I put my slapback at the very end.
Okay, so that's good for you then. So for me, I put my slapback before the long delay. So
this doesn't work for you?
Well, I mean, it could work. It would just switch up where my delays are falling, but it's less ideal for me because I like my slapback before my long delay. Because then the reverb's kind of in the wrong spot, right?
Right.
Not wrong. There's no wrong spot, but for what I prefer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag for me here. Because I do like the idea of it. In theory, it should work really well. But for like my Marshall and stuff, I would really like to have a little slapback and reverb with it. But I just don't think I want it in one small box where I got to turn a knob.
Have you tried the slapback at the end instead of...
I've definitely tried it at the end. Yeah. And it's okay. I just prefer it on the other side. It's not like something that I totally hate. So I wouldn't be completely opposed to throwing it at the end of my board. But I also kind of, I like the idea of if I really want a reverb for my Marshall or for like a Z-Rec or for something that doesn't have any reverb, maybe just tossing a reverb pedal on top of the head, just running a small cable here and then out to my board. So then I don't have to worry about the reverb on my board for whenever I've got an amp that already has reverb in it. You know what I mean?
I get it. Or get
one of those Fender tank reverbs and throw it on top of there.
I guess the question is,
Evo reverb.
Do you want a Dispatch Master?
No.
No? Even though Tom Bukovac says it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, I mean, I love Tom. I take his word, especially when it comes to gear, I take his word a lot. It just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't make sense. And even though it probably is a great pedal and probably is awesome, it just doesn't really fit my rig the way I'm running it now. Maybe in the future I'll feel different. Yeah. But as of right now, it's a pass. I would like to have one just to have laying around, but I'm not dying to have one on a board. It wouldn't be living on a board right now. So for that reason, if it's not going to move to my board, I guess it's got to be a pass.
Okay. I would say if it was feature friendly, similar to how the Keeley Hydra is, instead of tremolo and reverb, you did delay and reverb and two switches on it, I would really like it. Yeah. But since it doesn't, I'm good.
Okay. You want to move to your gas or pass then?
Sure. So my gas or pass has to do with guitars, specifically the Gibson Firebird.
Okay.
So, we obviously, humbuckers and single coils, I feel like, are the first guitars most people get. Then after that, you're looking at P90s or EMGs or something.
Semi-hollow or something.
Something different. But the mini humbucker, I feel like, has a very unique sound. Very different. And especially the Firebird. And I've listened to some Firebirds, and they sound fantastic. Of course, my guy, Mike Campbell, he uses a Firebird with the dirty knobs. And he sounds amazing on that Firebird. But did you know they don't make any standard Gibson Firebirds right now?
I'm fully aware because I've been looking at them.
You can find them used on Reverb for like $2,000.
Yeah.
But they don't have a standard Firebird. And I feel like they have Custom Shop.
Yeah, and they've got Epiphone.
They've got Epiphone, and they've got even that like...
Epiphone inspired by Custom Shop.
And I keep wanting to say Esquire because it's only got one pickup.
Yeah, it's a Firebird 1.
Firebird 1.
Yeah. Wraparound bridge.
Yeah. So they've got that, but no Gibson Firebird.
So on last week's episode, I talked about going to Carter's.
Mm-hmm.
I played 2 of the Epiphone Gibson Custom Shop inspired Firebirds.
Okay.
And it might have been the ones I played, but they sucked. I just was not a fan of them.
Like, okay.
Like I don't
elaborate. Is it how they play, how they sound, how they feel, how it is in your head because it says Epiphone?
No, it absolutely had to do with the specific guitars I played. It wasn't that the Epiphone Firebird sucks, but it was those specific guitars I played. They just weren't set up well.
Okay.
Like even though Carter's does a really good job with that.
Of.
Yeah, even though Carter's does a great job with that type of stuff, they were not ready to rock and roll. Okay. So I didn't feel like I got a really good representation of them.
Okay.
So I need to go play some more. But I was not a big fan of the neck either. The neck was like a little bit, I don't know if the shape was off or if it was just a little bit thinner than I thought it was going to be or what it was. But yeah, the Firebird, the fact that they only do Custom Shop and then Epiphones.
There's a lost market there.
Yeah. What are they doing?
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. In like 2016-17, they had some standard Firebirds they were putting out.
Well, they had some in 19, I thought.
Yeah.
In 2019.
Yeah, maybe 2019 was the last year they done it. When Cesar, is that how you say his name? Gibson?
I don't know.
Cesar? I feel like it's Cesar. Whenever he took over Gibson, not took over it, but become the figurehead for it, and he made all those changes in like 2019. Got away from the robot tuners, got away from all that junk that was going on. He also got rid of those Firebirds.
Did he do that like as soon as he got in, or was this just this past year or two?
No, I think it was 2019, so I think it was a year after he had been there.
I didn't realize he took away those.
Which I'm bummed about.
I don't understand. Like a Firebird's a unique sound.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that should be a standard.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
You look at Leonard Skinner, the first thing you think of is Firebird.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
At least I do.
That's not... Well, I'm glad we think differently about it. I think about Gary Rosington, and I think about his Les Paul with that crazy stick hanging out so he can play slide.
No, I just think of a Firebird. But, I mean, many humbuckers, they're thicker than a single coil. They're almost lipsticky.
Yeah.
They sound like a lipstick pickup almost.
Yeah. They're stringy sounding.
Yeah. The thing I cannot stand, the tuners, man. Those tuners are terrible to work with.
You know what? Maybe you should look at some of these 19s and 18s then, because some of those didn't have banjo tuners. Some of those had standard like Strat tuners on them.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. It would be cool. I don't mind the banjo tuners. I know that it's a thing for you.
I cannot stand it.
You've brought it up before.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. You could always replace them if you really wanted to.
Right.
I kind of am not a big fan of that kind of era, like 16, 17, 18 guitars. A lot of the guitars I played then were not real great. There were some good ones in there, but you really got to play through a lot of them.
Sure.
So I would be worried about ordering one from Reverb in that kind of era for me personally. And yeah, after playing those Epiphones, I'm like, well, and those Epiphones are not cheap. They're like, are they like
close to $1,000, right?
No, I think they're close to $2,000.
Oh goodness!
Because they're the custom shop inspired ones.
I mean, I get it,
and that's why I say that's another reason why I say they sucked.
It's for that money,
for that price, like they should have at least been like, oh, this is pretty good.
Right?
They just didn't feel it. Yeah, they're really expensive. I think they're $1,900. So, and then custom shop, you're talking like $4,000.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in between.
Right.
They kind of left themselves in a bad spot because if they put out a Gibson Standard, how much is it going to be?
25, almost 3.
It's got to be 3 to like 33 because $2,000 for an Epiphone.
Right.
Now they're going to make it in America with nitro and do all these different things and have higher quality woods and do all these things to the point to where that's going to be at least another $1,000.
I don't know. But I'm here to say make Gibson Firebirds great again.
Yeah,
Gibson Firebirds.
I would like to see a Gibson Firebird with the standard mini humbuckers come out, 1 or 2.
And a P91.
I would like to see a P91.
Yep, that'd be really cool.
I'd like to see a P91.
So, if they made a Gibson standard Firebird, let's say around $3,000.
Yep.
Is it a gas or pass?
It's a hardcore gas.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a hardcore gas.
All right. What is the last main topic, Casey?
So I want to talk about, we kind of were talking about earlier in this episode during the current topics, we were talking about the Blue Note and what it was based on. And I don't think it's really based on anything. But that's like a first question we always ask. And my main topic is, does it really matter what pedals are based on?
Yep. End of segment. Yep.
Well, my point is, like, all these pedals years ago, like the Bad Monkey and stuff, well, that's like a tube screamer. Everybody says it's a tube screamer with a bass and treble control rather than just a tone control. Mm-hmm. And all these old pedals that used to come out, the TS10 series, all these things that were just based on other pedals, they didn't tell you what they were based on. They done a small tweak to them and put them out there. And if you liked them, you liked them and bought them. If you didn't, you didn't. But nobody was like, oh, that's just, I mean, maybe people were, but I didn't know anything about it at that time anyway. People weren't saying, oh, that's just a regular old blues breaker. You know, should these companies even be really talking about what they're based on?
You know,
especially when they're tweaking the circuits to the point, I mean, should they say the King of Tone is based on a blues breaker whenever it's clearly radically changed?
Okay, here's my opinion on it. I think there's a couple points you can make here. First of all, the main question you're going to get from people who are writing in, hey, what does this sound most like? You know how many manufacturers I bet have to answer that? Like, I bet they have to answer that till they're blue in the face.
Yeah.
What is this like? It's based off of this. That's the best I can tell you, because it's modded, but it is based off something similar to this.
Yeah.
So it's to get you in the ballpark of, oh, this pedal is around this realm.
I think some people are looking at it that way, but I think a lot of people out there, me included on occasions, I've kind of gotten away from it recently, but me on occasions, I've heard that and thought, oh, it's just a blues breaker. And just left it at that. It's not.
I agree. I'm not saying that it's a good thing that they're putting it out there. I just think it's try to give people a ballpark of where it lies.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of also, my second point, I feel like it's also, it could be a marketing strategy. Like, and I'm not trying to call out people because Wampler does amazing things, but think of the Moxie.
Yeah.
Like, it is a tube screamer. You know, we've got this clipping section here that changes how it sounds, and, you know, we put our tweak on it, but it is a TS10, so that way it can be affordable for anyone instead of, you know, buying a vintage one that's crazy money.
Yeah, see, for me, that's completely different. That's a guy putting out a pedal to kind of be like a TS10. And also, yeah, there's my tweak that you can make it sound different, but you can also make it sound just like a TS10, just like it.
In theory.
For way cheaper, because you can't get one. That feels completely different to me than what it feels like whenever somebody puts out a pedal and it's like, well, it's inspired by a blues breaker. And just kind of leaves it like that. Because there's a million blues breaker clones. There's a million blues breaker inspired pedals. There's a million tube screamer inspired pedals. Mm-hmm. But if they just put a pedal out and just said, yeah, it's like a mid-pushed overdrive, you guys are going to love it. Well, people are going to infer that, oh, it's probably just like a tube screamer or whatever. But would we be better off just to, kind of like some of these amps, like modeling amps, like the Katana and stuff? Do we really need to know what this overdrive channel is based on? Or can we just listen to it and be like, yeah, I like it or I don't like it? I think we would be better off if we just listened to them and it's like, yeah, I like it or I don't like it. Of course, everything's inspired by something. I mean, the Marshall Plexi, you know, where did it come from? You know, where did all the Fender stuff come from years ago?
But I think it depends on what the product is. So like, for instance, modelers, if you are modeling after a specific amp, you probably should label it correctly.
Should you label a Katana?
I think so. Because unless you want to put, here's sound 1, here's sound 2, here, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, why wouldn't
what
you
are you
do that?
going to name it?
Why wouldn't you do that?
I think you can do that. That's fine. And people are just going to say, oh, number 2's a Vox. Like, that's what they're going to instinctually do. Like, it's just kind of human nature. Like, we always try to associate things to what we know. That's just human psychology.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
We just try to associate, not to say that it's correct.
It's freaking annoying, though, man.
Well, there's society. I don't know what to tell you. But for real, like, that's just kind of human nature. I don't think you're ever going to get away from that. You're going into the marketing portion of the pedal. You're going into helping answer those generic questions that people send in thousands of comments, like, what does this sound like? What is it? I think it's really just to ease over that portion. And other than that, you know, to me, it depends on how the manufacturer markets it. Like, you know, if they truly say, this is based off of this, but completely different. We want you to think about this as a new circuit because it doesn't sound anything like the old. Like, that is up to them to make that decision.
Yeah, you're right.
If they say that, then I think it buys some, not clout. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, legitimacy.
Yeah, that was a good word.
Yeah, there you go.
Proud of you. Yes, it buys some legitimacy to what the product is. But if they just say it's a tube screamer and then they just kind of let it go, well, that's kind of on them. They didn't explain it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the first person whenever I'm telling you about a new pedal I saw, I'm like, oh yeah, they put out a so-and-so and it's a Dumble-inspired pedal.
Right.
Or it's a Blink-inspired pedal.
Again, that's human nature. We associate.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess if you're interested, it kind of gives you an idea of like, if you like Tube Screamers, you should check this pedal out. Or if you're not a Tube Screamer fan, maybe you should pass on this pedal. But I think whenever they're inspired by something and they throw that out there, people immediately pass on it when maybe their tweak on it is just enough to get you in the door to actually liking it.
You know what's funny, and this is kind of a tangent? Anytime someone says it's based off a Tube Screamer, I'm immediately tuned out. Isn't that weird?
I am too. I've got no
As
interest.
soon as someone says it's kind of on a Tube Screamer kick,
it's a Tube Screamer with extra bass.
I'm like, okay, I know it's not for me.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Now I'm not interested. So, like, you've taken out a complete market too.
Yeah.
So, you know, manufacturers have to think about that, and I'm sure they do.
That's part of why I'm saying that too, is like, should we care what they're even based off of and stuff? Because you are hurting your market in some ways.
Depending on what it is.
But then they'll get on the gear page and they'll just be like, oh yeah, I looked at the circuit and it's a blah, 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 blah with just a modified blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And, you know, it's going to be out there anyway. So maybe it is best just to like let them know. I love unique circuits. I love the fact of having unique circuits out there.
Well, let's be honest. It's kind of like movies nowadays. Everything's a sequel.
Most.
Everything's a spinoff.
Yeah.
There are hardly no unique ideas anymore.
But boy, when they are unique and there's something fresh out there.
It's really cool.
It's refreshing and amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys think they should be telling us what these pedals are based off of? Or just letting us figure it out on our own?
Yep.
See you guys next week.
See ya.